wow. And it got to a point, y'all, where I lied to not only my parents and both of them, actually, my pastors and my parents. I was telling them that hello, family. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel. So I'm feeling quite jovial today, and I decided to come on here and give you guys a testimony.
Is that a testimony? Wait a minute. Hallelujah! Yeah, glory.
You see, I just felt inspired in my spirit. Now, of course, as you can see, I decided to decorate my background a little bit. I'm giving you guys flowers. I'm giving you a pop of color. I'm giving you ornaments, baby. Yes, you know, keep things interesting, keep things progressing. We don't always have to do the same boring things. Your eyes can have the visual delight of seeing something different other than a plain blank wall and this face, honey. Okay, so these flowers are actually part of a bigger project that I am doing, which is a big flower board that I do want to put up on this wall. However, it is still currently underway, and so I won't call it an entire flop just yet, but I will say it's still underway. I'm really excited about it. I hope it looks amazing. And so yeah, guys, let's get right into the story time. Now, I know you're not out there watching my video without having subscribed. Like, seriously, what is wrong with you? You keep coming back to this party. Why don't you just admit that you like it? Yeah. Get notified every time your girl gives you new content. What's wrong with you? Me and my brother had this slogan we call do the right thing. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do the right thing. Come on, you know you want to do the right thing. And we even have a theme song for it. Do the right thing, do the right thing. Do the right thing, do the right thing. Okay, so I hope you subscribed. I hope I don't have to beg you. Okay, we don't beg, but I need you to do the right thing, Mr., Sir, Ma'am, Honey, Boo Boo. Thank you. So, this story begins in my third and final year of my music program at Nelson Mandela University. And you know the excitement, you're about to finish, it's your final year, and you are thinking about all the opportunities and possibilities for you once you have obtained, you know, that certificate. And granted, I was excited. Your girl was, you know, just in her feels about it, in a good way or whatever. And so far so good. You know, I've been a good student. I had never failed or had to go back and repeat a module during the course of my studies at Nelson Mandela Uni. So everything was going great. For those of you who don't know, music theory has a lot of numbers. Okay, there's a 4th in there that's actually an 11th. There's a 2 in there that's actually a 9. And if you don't think about it and process it all quickly with all the formulas as you're composing, honey, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna be like, I thought that was the 3rd. Well, how does it become an F sharp when I thought it was going to the G? Like, you can really easily make mistakes and get your whole composition wrong. And even a minor mistake makes a huge difference, because a slight difference in the wrong note played makes a big difference to the sound of the music and messes up the whole chord, the whole sound of the music, the whole progression. You ruined the whole thing by one simple small step of a mistake. Okay, so I hope you guys understand how crucial it is to have had everything, you know, small details had to be on lock, or what, you're disqualified. That's what's up.
Do you feel that you deliver that today? That's the question.
No, but I don't think that was the challenge.
Don't tiptoe around the answer.
We need to fire them ASAP.
Ugh. So Also, I want to make mention of the fact that even though I had managed pretty well with this module called Jazz Theory, I wouldn't say it was my strongest point from the very beginning. So now more so when they're telling me that this is going to become more advanced. I think the reason why this course was particularly more difficult for me to process is because I have always composed music and songs. I hear things and how I want the instruments to sound. It comes from within. And that is how I compose music. I have my own methods and ways that I process music. It's not really a mathematical calculation or a formula that I depend on to get to a certain sound. So, second semester rolls around, okay? And there is this particular meme we actually used to have circulating around saying, the youth is not okay. Second semester is killing our youth. Save the precious youth, you know, because there is that 1 or 2 weeks where every lecturer or trainer wants something from you, okay? You are writing tests in order to make DP to qualify for your exams. And then you need to have done assignments. You need to get ready for your practicals if you do something that has practical exams. For me, I played the guitar, as you guys can see. But second semester rolls around. And like I said, this lecturer had told us every single week of this year, you will have an assignment. Now, these assignments were lengthy. They were not just difficult to process, but they were lengthy. You would be required to take whatever formula you learned in class, okay, and work with a computerized program. You would have to take whatever song you're working on, okay, and show what each instrument is doing. Now, per song, you can have maybe a minimum of 4 instruments. He wanted to see that you know how to arrange as well. Okay, so not only composing a song, I specialized in jazz. It has to stay, I don't want to say within the confines because jazz is so flexible, but there are certain things that are not jazz when you now venture out into something else that's not jazz. So it has to be jazzifically correct according to the stipulations of what jazz is. But then it's not just for one instrument, baby. You're not just singing this song and writing out the composed parts for the voice. You have to accompany it with at least the keys, some drum, a bass instrument, and maybe like a lead guitar. So you every single week you are making parts for these instruments. Okay, that's a lot of work. And then to make it worse, if you're not familiar with the stuff on the computer program, you don't know where to find your bass clef note. You don't know where to click to drag this item down and show it on your staff or your musical staves. You had to learn. It was a lot of learning all in one go. You're learning how to use the computer program. You're learning how to compose. You're learning how to arrange at least 4 different instruments in one thing. And not only that, the arrangement has to make sense and sound pleasant. So, as I said, these assignments were lengthy. Okay, baby? I mean, they were good for us and everything. They taught us how to compose and arrange for different instruments. But honey, you couldn't just get on the night before and try to work out a piece. Like, it had to have been something that you had been doing intentionally and sitting on for at least a few nights to actually get you a decent mark. You know what I'm saying? So as I said, second semester, you owe every lecturer some things, plural. Okay. I remember just taking a hard hit. So I remember sitting there in class like,
dang, I barely understood what this whole lesson was about today. There's an assignment coming up on this work.
I still have to, and I just remember kind of sinking because I knew that this was not the end. There was still a way to go in the semester, and the work is building up, and the work is getting more advanced. And I remember just that day just sinking like, wow. It was particularly with regard to this module. This particular module, it was testing me. Like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think this is too hard for me. I can't comprehend. Like, I just kind of zoned out. I was like, no ma'am, no sir. looking back now, I realized that was the trigger. It wasn't until later on that evening, we were coming from church. I was brought up in an environment whereby it didn't matter if you had exams or you had an emergency going on, that you could not go to church because of it. In fact, you should go to church all the more. Okay, you should make time to study. And then because you believe in God, you have faith in him, you should go and pray about what you've studied, that Lord, you're going to help me attain whatever goal. There's also a power about corporate worship where, you have that exchange with God. The word is preached. You hear something that you're going to take out of that meeting that is going to help you with your struggles. So we're coming from church with a friend. I started crying for no reason. For no reason. I felt like an overwhelming sadness just overwhelm me and come over me. And now, if you know me, I'm not a crier. I usually have a very good handle on my emotions. So I'm sitting in the back of that car, confused, crying, sad for no reason. Next thing I remember, I go up to my room in the house that I was staying in. And the only thing I can remember next in the episode of these anxiety attacks was a huge migraine. At this point, I'm completely confused. I'm suffering from a migraine. I don't have any it's not making sense. And I knew it was a migraine because of the point in my head that it was hitting. Usually a normal headache would be like in the front kind of central part of your head. But this thing was just hitting parts of my head that I had never felt pain in. And also just the intensity of the magnitude of this pain, the way it was ringing was not a normal regular pain. Especially the more it continued on, I really began to feel like, okay, I'm suffering. I'm like suffering. Like
I'm
nothing was working. I
suffering.
eventually decided to give it to God and just sleep. And of course, when I woke up, the migraine was gone. But honey, it was the first of many to come. Okay, that's what I did not know. I don't think I had another cry episode. However, I would have a lot of sadness spells. Like out of nowhere, I would just get extremely sad. I realized that if anything slightly triggered me, I would start to have that migraine. I would have the migraine, and when it hits, there's nothing that I can do to make it go away. Like I would need to stop my classes for the day, go home and sleep, because it's over from there. I can't concentrate, I can't focus, I can't hear what the lecturer is saying over the migraine. So I would either have to work very hard to make sure I'm not triggered and control my thoughts to make sure I don't get to a point whereby the migraine starts, of which sometimes, even though I would try to control my thoughts, it would still happen. I had to call my parents and explain what I was going through, how I was not able to attend my classes as often anymore. Of course, I would try to catch up with my friends when I missed a day and call them up and see what did I miss and all that stuff. But so my parents advised that I see a doctor, and he did give me something for the migraines and just advised that I don't overstress myself, which of course wasn't a help because I was in a very crucial season of my life. I gotta make it. I mean, how can you tell me not to stress myself when I've gotten work on work? And of course, as I mentioned, I was very active in the church still. I had other responsibilities as well as running a small side business of selling t-shirts. So I had quite a few things going on. And so I would not step down from my church responsibilities. At some point that was suggested. My participation in church activities actually gave me a release from the stress and whatever. So I actually refused to step down from my church positions because it would help me process the stress. However, it was still a responsibility added on to the list of things that I needed to get done. Honey, them things were just piling on, and at least I got a prescription that would help me deal with the migraine. I want to thank my pastors for really stepping in as my parents at that time, because they took me under their wing. On some weekends, they would demand that I come to their house, have proper homemade meals, and I was able to laugh with their children as if they were all my own siblings. And they really made the burden easier for me. They counseled me from a biblical point of view. And my parents were in communication with my pastors, and they would ask me if I'm going to school, if I'm managing well. And it got to a point, y'all, where I lied to not only my parents and both of them, actually, my pastors and my parents. I was telling them that I was going to my classes and that I was much better now, but yo, I was not. For many days, I would not go to school, but I didn't want to tell them this because I knew they would worry. And at one point, they suggested that I should drop the semester and come home and just take care of myself. But I refused. I was like, that's not gonna happen. I want to finish. I'm gonna finish. I don't care who, what, where, what, how. Okay, honey, this is how we're gonna do this game. I wanted to give myself the best shot I could, you know, even if I failed, but I was gonna try. So I didn't tell people the truth. My authorities and parents, okay, I lied. I don't advise this. But for my particular situation, I understood that if I told them the truth, that I'm not even going to most of my classes on most of the days, yo, that I would be sent home. So what I would do is I would study in advance. As I said, I would call my friends, ask them, what tests are we writing? Did y'all hear of a test? What's going on? And I would try and get notes. What did y'all talk about in this one's class today? What did he say? What did ma'am say? And I would get the notes from my friends. But going to school had been minimalized to minimum when I could. The result of me missing out on so many school days, I was able to do well in the modules that had written exams at the end of the day. Because like I said, I was a student who studied in advance. I'll calculate how many chapters are in this module. So I'd always give myself extra time to go through all the chapters again and again, as many times as I can. So I prepared in advance and I did well enough. I did well in my subjects that required an exam, a written exam. Even jazz theory, we had assessments every week, but it was based on a written exam. That was the major mark. Now, because I missed school so much, there were 2 assessment modules, whereby every week or so, you'd be given an assessment to complete in class. Now, they were easy enough, but because I was not healthy enough to be attending those classes, I could not hand in the work. So for my theory teaching module, I was able to communicate with my lecturer beforehand. And thankfully, like I said, I had a good relationship with my lecturers. They knew I had a clean, good record, that I wasn't trying to get out of doing work. I wasn't making things up. I wasn't lying so that I can just get a green card for handing in work late. I was able to show my doctor's notes. The lecturer for the other continued assessment module had already left for holiday. She was not even in PE anymore. And so I just knew in my head that I would have to come back the next year and repeat it.